Hey guys, today we're talking Splendor Duel. I'm going to be giving you 4 tips to up your Splendor Duel game here. I recently came in 3rd place in a national Splendor Duel tournament, so I have some tips to share with you to up your game as well and give you the best chance of winning. So tip number 1, know which victory path your opponent is striving for and make sure you're strategically reserving the cards that would be important to them. Remember, there are 3 ways to win the game. So once the game starts, you should kind of get a feel for which way your opponent is trying to win. So if they're trying to win with the crowns, you might want to consider reserving a card that looks like it might be attainable for them, that is a multi-crown card. The same could be going if they're trying to win with 10 points of a single color, reserving a high point value card of that color, which it looks like it might be reasonable for them to attain there. That is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is don't be afraid to refresh the board. A lot of people are very hesitant about giving their opponent a privilege and refreshing the board, but it definitely is worth it a lot of times. Giving your opponent a privilege isn't a super awful setback for you. It's not really as powerful as people make it seem to be. So don't be afraid to refresh the board if you're looking for something specific, especially if there are pearls in the bag that you can get them. And that brings us to tip number 3. You almost always want to take at least 1 pearl when it's available on the board. There are very few instances where I will not take at least 1 pearl when they're available. Finally, tip number 4, the last tip I have for you, and maybe the most important one, is don't spend too long building your machine and don't overbuild your machine with these level 1 cards that aren't worth points. You want to be buying point cards if that's the way you intend on winning. Winning with 20 points or 10 of one color, you want to be buying those. Don't spend too long buying these pointless cards unless the action is really helpful to you or you don't have a lot better to do. But a lot of times people overbuild their machine and spend way too much time buying these pointless cards. And when I say pointless, I mean 0 point value. They're not pointless, but they spend too much time buying those cards, not enough time saving for some of the higher tier ones. So there you have it. Those are my 4 tips for upping your Splendor Duel game.